starting another little job, and we're out east of Shawnee just a little ways, which is east of Oklahoma City. Anyway, I'm not sure what this building is. I'll probably find out at some point, but not super big. I think it does have a safe room in it.
So the spread footings are going to be 2'8".
Okay.
And the rest of it's going to be 2'4".
Okay. So just 4 inches. All right. Anyway, just a little building. I was in Pawhuska working last week and a little bit the week before. We got done up there. So, got this little job. Pretty dry on top, but there's some better material down under that. Anyways, back into the red soil, red dirt. We've got 6x6 spot footings that are a little bit deeper than the regular footing. So we've got to change elevations on some stuff in between them. Pretty simple job, looks like. Pretty easy. Gonna be a pretty easy day for me and B. Little Red had to work the hardest to get us out here, so. Me and B ain't gonna work too hard today, I don't think. down to the end of this one. Not a real big job, but a pretty cut up job. There's a lot of corners, a lot of boxes. We're gonna dig out in it. I think it's okay. Kind of lost a little bit of layout here, but I think I can get it straight or keep it straight. Anyway, we're digging out a safe room now. This is probably something we should have did first. We didn't. We did it last, so I may have another hour or so here. It's about 2:30. I think we started about almost 8 o'clock, 7:45, something like that. Anyway, I haven't really been hurrying that much, but we're making pretty good time on it. Easy digging, just super easy stuff. If only they could all be like this, huh? Trying to straighten that corner up here a little bit. One of the GCs came out after I got started this morning. He stopped me and he asked me, he said, "Hey, this is your first day, isn't it?" I said, "Yeah, pretty much. I've never dug one before." Anyway, a lot of guys in construction haven't ever seen them done this neat, and it's a shame. They all ought to be this neat. But they all ought to have nice dirt too. I mean, that sure helped. It helped a lot of people out. This has got some clay and it looks like there's some white rock in there. I think they call it gyp rock or gypsum. It's kind of a crystally looking rock. It's white. It's got, oh, it kind of shatters easy or breaks easy, but I didn't know they had gyp rock out in this part of the country, but I guess maybe they do. Surely they didn't haul this dirt in from western Oklahoma. But, we're about, we're about 45 minutes east of Oklahoma City, so I don't think they hold it. I really don't think they hold it that far. Anyway, we're digging this 3 foot wide, and I decided to leave a 2 foot bucket on because I don't have a bucket cover, and it doesn't take that much longer with this one. The 30's not 3 foot anyway, so I'd have to be cutting that side off 6 inches instead of a foot. So, but anyway, it's a good day. Everything's going well. It's nice to be on a job where everything's just new and fresh and nobody's in the way out here. You're not battling for real estate trying to get your job done. So, pretty laid back Monday. Kind of nice, but we're going to have to probably push some dirt out of the... I can't reach all the way to the outside of the building. We had to get the dirt. We'll have to get the dirt out of the middle of this safe room before we complete it, but that won't take that long, I don't think. Anyway. And the way I'm judging 3 foot is my tobacco bucket teeth are on 6-inch centers, so if I hang 3 teeth over, I got about 12 inches there, or about the middle of that bucket. nothing really scientific about it, and it's probably not exactly 3 foot, but it's probably within an inch. It should be just a little bit over, if anything. But I've been meaning to put more content on my video about how I dig footings, and if you hadn't ever watched any of my videos, I'm gonna go over it again. There's a few things that I do on purpose most all the time, and the most basic one is you get your machine in the proper position, and by that I mean you line up your bucket out at the end, and then you pull your bucket in, and you check your layout, you see if you're on track. And once you got the proper position, that's the first step, and then the next step is you dig level from top to bottom. Don't be sticking your bucket down in the ground a foot deep and rip it. You dig level from top to bottom. You figure out your material. I mean, not all material is going to dig the same, so some of it you can dig a little faster. This stuff here, if I sunk my bucket in a little too deep, it would really blow the sides out. The way this material's compacted in here, kind of wet, if you start digging too much too quick, it'll start trying to go around the bucket instead of in it, and that's when you start blowing the sides out, kind of like I just did right there. Another thing that helps with is once you get that established, if you're taking small cuts, your boom is more likely to go straight. When you start taking deeper cuts, your bucket or your boom will kind of veer off side to side, and that's where you start getting a crooked ditch, or one that's not as straight as you'd like. So there's a couple of things. Dig, proper position, dig level. Another thing I'd say is, don't rush it. But you can see the deeper I go in this material, the more I can get a bucket full. Your first few passes, you might not get a half a bucket full. You might not get a quarter bucket full, but that's okay. Don't worry about it. The way I look at it, if you take more time digging this stuff neat, you're going to move less material. So what you would consider wasted movements ain't really. Because if I peel back another 8 inches on each side of this ditch, 6 inches deep, then that's more material I got to move. Even though my bucket's full, I'm going to be moving, same amount of more. I'm going to be moving more dirt. But the name of the game on footings, and the reason I'm into it, and I like doing it, is that not everybody can. It's not something everybody can do. I think it's something everybody ought to try to learn if they're in the excavation business. I think they ought to learn how to do it better. Some guys just don't have the patience for it, and that's okay. Maybe they'd rather just go jackhammer a piece of concrete or something. I don't know. But everybody's a little different. And don't get me wrong, I like running a dozer, I like running a big excavator, I like moving a big pile of dirt once in a while, but this is the kind of work I'm doing here is not like I'm just plowing a field. I'm being deliberate with every move I make, and also concrete is about $160 a yard. So if I can come out here and save these guys 5 or 6 yards of concrete, I dang near paid my bill nowadays. So, that is what keeps me in business. So if footings aren't your deal, I completely understand. I know a lot of guys that are good operators, that know what they're doing, they're really good at moving dirt, but they just don't care much for this kind of stuff, and that's okay. Another thing I'd tell you, and this will make you a smoother operator, is plan your next move a couple steps ahead. Like if I'm digging right here, I know where I want to put this pile or this bucket full in the spoil pile. I'm not mid swing changing my mind. So make up your mind where you're going to go next with your bucket before you start moving it that way, and that'll make you smoother. I mean, it absolutely will make you smoother. Your mind, if you change your mind in the middle of the movement, you're naturally going to stop or hesitate or pause, or you'll start jerking your machine around, and you don't want to do that. I mean, that goes for any kind of digging or excavation work, or even, you know, goes as far as running a dozer. I mean, planning your moves and thinking about what's the best move next and what's the logical thing to do next, that will make you absolutely look better in the seat of the machine. So I hope that helps a little bit. I mean, there's a lot more to it. Another thing I'd say is keep some good teeth on your bucket. I mean, don't run ragged, wore out teeth on especially on the outside too. The middle ones aren't near as important. You can get by running those for a long time. Even if you don't run the wide ones like I do. These wide ones are nice. They help you see grade better. We're just a little bit deep there, looks like, but we've been running pretty close. So another thing for a beginner, I would say, is don't worry about curling your bucket when you're crowding in. If you're trying to combine 3 moves, you're having to divert the flow 3 different. You got to really get better at it before you can run 3 or 4 functions at once smoothly and efficiently. So there's nothing wrong with, and I'll kind of show you on this setup here. What I usually tell people when they're beginning is, now digging footings is a little different. So, and depending on the dirt, the first few passes I'm going to keep this bucket nearly vertical. So I'm not moving the bucket, I'm just crowding in, I'm digging level. And I'm going to do the same on the next pass. I'm not trying to get a scoop of dirt, I'm just making a cut. I'm getting lined up, and once I get, and right now I got my front bucket off the ground, so I'm kind of bouncing a little bit. Once I get down in the dirt about 4 inches, I'll go ahead and try to get a scoop. That's maybe 3 inches or whatever, but after I get down a little ways, I'll start curling that bucket to where it's a little bit more dipped so that it fills up a little better. But I don't actually have to move that bucket once it's set, like I can set it right there and I can just use the boom and the crowd, my boom up and crowd in to get my level cut. I get to the end of the cut, then I can curl the bucket and I've got a bucket. So don't overcomplicate it, keep it simple. When you see a guy that's operating and he can run all 4 functions fluid, he's probably been at it for a while, and you'll get there. But another thing about using, like if I'm just using 2 functions, my backhoe's gonna move faster too. It's not gonna be, anytime you add a function, you're taking away oil from the other functions. The backhoe's got 1 pump. Most generally, this one has a dual pump, but it pretty much combines the flow on it. So you don't get too fancy with trying to curl the bucket as you come in. you'll get that. You'll get better at that with time, but it's really not necessary even for somebody that knows what they're doing. Like right here, I'm curling the bucket out as I come in. That takes a lot of practice. But if you notice, the boom is also moving quite a bit slower. So by not using that extra curl, the oil flow from the curl, the backhoe's moving faster, more efficient. So those are a few things I've got for you on this video, and I'll probably repeat them again because, you know, people don't always watch all my videos. You know, I might make a 30-minute video, but here in the next few, I'm going to try to put a tip in at the end of them. And I'm, like I say, I may cover these again because I think they need to be heard every time you think about digging a ditch. And you know, digging level, if you dig flat, if you dig from top to bottom, and let's say you're just trenching a water line, but if you dig level from top to bottom, you're more likely to be able to find if there's a buried line that somebody forgot to locate, or maybe you forgot to call a locate and you're trying to be careful. If you dig level from top to bottom, you will fill the pipe more likely. So that's about all I know today, I guess. Other than, you know, if you're thinking about going into business to run a backhoe and dig footings, it's a long road. It takes a lot of years to get good. It takes a lot of years to get good clients. And I wouldn't say I've really got it mastered yet. The operating part I'm pretty good at. But just being one man with one machine, I'm kind of limited on the amount of money I can make in a year. The way I've done my business, it didn't scale up very well. I don't plan on buying more backhoes and hiring people. The guys I work for, they want me. And I would have to have somebody trained up pretty well to put them on a job to replace me. And then I got to worry about trying to keep them busy and all that good stuff. Because I'm not busy all the time. Which is one of the reasons I kind of like it, is when I am busy, I make enough money to kind of coast through some times when things get tight. There's not much work. So, but that's just my take on it. It depends on where you live. There are areas where you can keep a machine busy 7 days a week and get in with the right people. But another thing I'd say for a beginner, I really wouldn't suggest you try to go dig footings for somebody. I mean, that's how I started, but I had quite a bit of practice on the farm digging. I'd had quite a bit of practice digging from my dad. He had a plumbing business, so we did ditches for plumbing. And if you can find an electric contractor to work for, you can find a plumber to work for. They're a little bit less particular on how straight the ditch is. Plumbers are usually very particular about grade, but it's good practice. It's good, you know. I still work for plumbers and I still work for some electricians, and you know, it don't matter who you work for though. If you turn out a neat product and it looks good, everybody on the job site feels better about it. And you know, it just kind of makes the contractor feel like that, because when a contractor goes out to a job site, he's usually working for a GC, and the GC is going to be looking at his work And there's been a lot of jobs I pulled up on with my old wore out backhoe and 50-year-old truck. And they look at my stuff and they say, what the heck is this old man going to do with that? And before the day's over, they're like, man, that really looks nice. And, you know, if you practice it enough, it becomes just as easy to do it neatly as it does to do it rough. Help this guy move a little dirt here. Get it out of the way. Another thing is, depending on your dirt, you're not going to always dig a nice, perfect ditch. There are places I can't make it happen either. But, that being said, if you make every effort you can to make it look neat, you're still going to do better than somebody else did. And that means quite a bit. So, here we're getting ready to dig this piece out. And what I'm going to do is set up at an angle here so that I can throw the dirt outside the actual building site. Now, outside the exterior footing. This is where people get confused with backhoes. They're like, well, an excavator, you can throw the dirt around behind you, or 180, whatever. Well, moving dirt 180 is not very effective or efficient. A lot of times, if you can do it in 45 degrees, or let's say in this case, probably about 80 or 70, all I got to do is sit up here at a little bit of an angle. Bucket position is not, or my boom position is still in line with the dig. My pivot point's still where it ought to be. Doesn't matter where the nose of the backhoe's at. The only important part is this back part, where it's sitting. And I'm off just a little bit right there. Anyway, I'm going to quit rattling about stupid stuff like backhoes and how to run them, and I'm going to put this on time lapse and let you watch me finish it. I think that's what I'm going to try to do.